other folks to get in the race. I mean, it's a shame that we don't have more contested races for city council, but there's a reason for it. And most people simply cannot afford financially to serve on the Lubbock City Council. By the way, are we going to have the superintendent at 7:30 or right now? Have we held her on the phone?
Yes, this has been an enjoyable conversation.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, right.
Well,
We're sorry.
City council members make more than Lubbock ISD Board of Trustee members make.
Well, yeah,
Zero.
I understand. Well, you've really got to be dumb to be on the school board, I guess, if they don't make anything, nothing.
They do not.
Superintendent, how are you this morning?
I am wonderful, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm better than I deserve, of course. Let's talk about COVID-19. How's it going with the combination of virtual and classroom teaching?
Well, I mean, I will be very, very honest. I've been in this business with Lubbock ISD for 32 years, and this has definitely been the most challenging year I have faced as an educator. But as far as how it's going with virtual and face-to-face, I would say that our team has done an outstanding job of setting up two entirely different sets of systems for learning for our students to meet the needs of our families.
Now,
But
hey,
the
Paul,
struggle is real.
it's 7:16, running a little over. Let's take a quick break and come right back. How about?
Yeah, and ask our superintendent and apologize to her with all sincerity that we just took off on another subject and basically forgot about her. Sorry. Welcome back to the morning show. Paul R. Beane and Dave King with you, and our guest this morning on the phone, because we're social distancing, is LISD Superintendent Ms. Rollo. Let me ask a question that I think is maybe pertinent in this day and age. How's LISD doing to try to narrow the gap with low-performing students? Do you have a program in place for that, and how do you identify them quickly?
Well, we actually have multiple programs in place for that. One of the things that we do, or one of the things that we did at the beginning of this school year was actually administered, since we didn't have the STAR assessment at the end of last year, we administered a beginning-of-year STAR-like assessment so that we could determine exactly where holes are in students' learning, especially after being away from school for so long. We did offer some summer programming and invited students to come who were at risk, and it gave us a great way to practice some of our safety protocols around COVID, but it also gave us a chance to start filling in those gaps. But our teachers work with small groups. We have interventionists that go in and work with individual students to try to make sure that every child has what they need, especially by the time they reach third grade. If they're on track by third grade, then it's easier to keep them on track. When they're behind by then, it's difficult.
Dave?
Yeah. Look, can I jump in here and ask a question?
You bet.
Okay, Dr. Rollo, we have a texter this morning, and I do want to remind our audience, if you have a question for Dr. Rollo, Superintendent of LISD, our text lines are open at 806-680-2790. This texter asked Dr. Rollo, can you ask is supporting a president? Can you ask? I'm sorry, if LISD is supporting a presidential candidate? If not, why are there presidential signs on LISD property, specifically at the ATC campus?
Well, the ATC campus is a voting site today, and so just as in any election, when you have a polling location, candidates are allowed to put signs up. But no, as a school district, and as school district employees, we are not endorsing any candidates or platforms.
Good answer there.
There you go.
Dave, something that I don't know how long we can keep our superintendent on the line this morning, even after the 7:30 break. I have always been an advocate of vocational training. We have. It's interesting because my plumber is in his 60s, closing in on his 70s. They tell us right now we need 50,000 OTR truck drivers, over the road truck drivers, and I know they can't do that till they're 21.
Right.
Dr. Rollo, I've got a young niece in the Waco area that quit her job making $35 an hour at a hospital and switched to another hospital, and she's making $45 an hour after 1 year of schooling for medical procedures. Is the TEA, do you think they're doing enough to expand vocational training in this day and age? Because not everybody's going to want to knock dents out of fenders and our trucks.
Yeah. Well, House Bill 5, which came out of not this past legislative session, but the one before that, really opened the door for us to provide more vocational training for students without being penalized as a district. And so we have greatly expanded our opportunities for students around vocational training, and they can graduate with industry certifications from high school. So when your plumber decides to retire, we need teachers. We need plumbers to come teach our students because we have so many kids that want to pursue that as a career. And finding teachers for us right now is one of our challenges. We added plumbing and welding this past year and are continually looking at ways to expand our CTE offerings.
I'll tell you, Dr. Rollo, you don't want my plumber as a teacher in your program. That I can promise you, unless your students are interesting in hearing some words they don't know the definition of. We're going to take a break, and we hope that we can hold our superintendent over after the 7:30 break. KFYO's morning show, Dave King and Paul R. Beane subbing. I think we'll be here tomorrow. And then more coming up at 7:30. Welcome back, everybody. Election coverage starting tonight at 7 here on KFYO with the whole crew. I mean, I think everybody's going to be here for the election coverage tonight. But I'm telling you, Dave, I don't believe we're going to know much tonight or maybe even tomorrow or maybe even next week because it looks like that everybody's lawyered up and ready to start filing protest about the election, win, lose, or draw. Our guest this morning by phone is Dr. Kathy Rollo, Superintendent LISD. And Dave, I think you were wanting to ask a question of our superintendent.
Well, of course, yeah, I do, but we also have a text message here that says, amen to vocational. We have kids at the high school that need that. LISD constantly encouraging college. Well, let me put me down firmly for one who says that we definitely need more vocational training and probably a lot of maybe less college. What do you say, Dr. Rollo?
I absolutely agree. I mean, definitely many students want to pursue higher education and a university degree, and we support that and we will prepare kids for that. But there are also lots and lots of opportunities for jobs right out of high school that earn a great living. I had a student from Monterey High School who taught me how to weld a few weeks ago, and it was fascinating to me. So, and that kid is going to do great things when he graduates. So absolutely, I am very supportive of our CTE programming.
Yeah.
Well,
let me ask you one more question, Dr. Rollo. I know that the COVID, you guys are dealing with that, and homeschooling. What do we call that? Distance learning.
Virtual learning. Yes.
Virtual learning. There's some issues with that. We talked at length last time that you were on the show. Bring us up to speed. How is this work? How is our distance learning working?
Well, more of our students who were learning virtually have come back to face-to-face. So we're actually serving fewer students virtually now in our virtual school setting. We have a commitment to this community to keep our schools open and are doing everything we can to get as many students as possible back face-to-face. But if they are not comfortable or are compromised for some reason, we do want to make sure we have a quality option available. And it's going well. I mean, we've had some kinks to iron through, but for the most part, I would say our virtual students are doing very well.
Is there any way to track the failure rate? I mean, have you had enough classroom hours to track the failure rate between virtual learners and those in the classroom?
We absolutely monitor that very regularly. And there are students in virtual schools who are doing extremely well, and there are some who are not doing as well as we would like, but that's the same as face-to-face students as well. I would say our failure rate in virtual school is a little higher, particularly at secondary, and that is something that we are working on and addressing. As soon as the first progress reports went out and the first 9-week report card, I think a lot of people woke up and said, oh, we really do have to log on and do our work every day in virtual school. So we're working on that, absolutely, and monitoring that closely.
Dave, I've got a question. It's something that I've never been really clear on. It seems like that, well, it's a fact. It doesn't seem like it's a given fact that most of our National Merit Scholars come out of Lubbock High rather than all of the other high schools put together. Are the programs the same, or are the opportunities the same, or the same classes and experience offered at all the high schools, or does Lubbock High have some programs that are not offered elsewhere?
So Lubbock High does have the International Baccalaureate program, and that is only offered at Lubbock High. We do have specialty programs at our other schools as well. Monterey has Project Lead the Way, which is an engineering program. Coronado actually is going to be adding International Baccalaureate certification program. So you were talking about your support of vocational training. IB now has a certification program that is wonderful. So we're in the process of planning for that. Estacado has an early college high school program, and we had our first class of graduates last year and our largest class of freshmen moving into that program this year. So we do offer different programs, and those programs, of course, attract different types of students who want to pursue different things.
How about explaining mock elections for us, Dr. Rollo?
Yes. So I think, Paul, your friend who never voted, I don't think we did this when he was in elementary school and secondary school, but Lubbock IC wants our students to learn about the process of voting and why it is so important. So we actually take our students through a mock election process every year where they learn basic information about the candidates. Of course, it's all factual information, not anything trying to persuade one way or the other. And then the students actually go into little voting booths and cast their ballots. So we did.
What does it tell us? What does our students, who are they going to vote for this year the most?
Well, let's just say that since it is still Election Day, I don't want to sway anyone any way or the other, but I'm just looking forward to seeing how closely ours align with what actually comes out at the end of the day. But we did have about 17,000 students who voted.
Will we have access to those results later on?
Sure, I'd be happy to share them with you later on.
That'd be great.
Absolutely.
That'd be fun. Well, it really is interesting. And you were talking just a moment ago that one of the students was teaching you how to weld. And I was noticing this morning from the Associated Press, which I never believed, by the way, that U.S. construction spending rose 0.3% in September, the fourth monthly gain after the COVID-19. A smaller gain had been expected, but the country continues to grow and continues to build. So we need folks that, can weld and do various other construction jobs. And even the home building business in Lubbock is on fire. So, they're in constant need of framers and electricians and plumbers and landscapers.
Yeah, we teach all of the above. In fact, our students actually build a house every year that we donate to Habitat for Humanity. So we're teaching kids how to frame. We have electricians, plumbers, all of the above.
Well,
Hey, can we
Dave,
get one quick question in here before our break? How about
sure.
Sure. And then I'm going to off after the break.
unexpected snow days in October, Dr. Rollo? Explain student attendance minutes.
Yes. So fortunately, we have enough minutes that we are not going to have to make up those 2 days that we missed last week, unless we have a snowmageddon and end up having a lot more of those. But we are fine right now on that. And it gave teachers the chance to have a virtual work day where they got a lot of work done in lesson planning and getting caught up on some things. So unusual to have 2 days like that in October, but grateful for the time and glad to keep everyone home and safe.
We'll be back and with Dr. Rollo and wrap it up right after this break. This is KFYO's Morning Show. Dave King and Paul R. Beane subbing this morning for you.